When you stand in front of a class or sit planning next term's curriculum, do you ever find yourself looking for a fresh way to engage your students, whatever their age, imagination and creativity, while you share the Jewish values that can guide them toward a spiritually fulfilling life? Are you looking for new, vibrant, and fun course offerings to draw them into your school or synagogue or temple? I'm Hebrew manuscript artist and author Debra Band. If you don't already know and love my work, here you see my books, so far, that I've published through JPS on my own imprint. Each of my Hebrew and English illuminated books of beloved biblical text and prayer is the fruit of a collaboration with celebrated scholars and accompanies my original paintings with extensive commentary materials that enlighten the reader about the text and traditions around it and the symbolism embodied in the paintings. Every book has been beautifully reviewed and is beloved not only for the beauty of the paintings, but for the way I convey millennia of Jewish thought and culture in the rich symbolism of every painting, in a way virtually unique in the history of Jewish arts. You can see more on my website. Here, I've distilled everything I've learned from years of sharing these works into this fully flexible menu of classes to enrich your educational program. Jewish spirit art has grown from my experience sharing my artwork and Jewish illuminated books with audiences as varied as the Library of Congress, synagogues and JCCs, all kinds of Jewish schools, and rabbinical students, academic conferences, and Christian seminaries. We're such visual creatures. It's a truism that humans learn primarily through vision, and this is all the more so in this internet age. So, cater to your students' visual sense as you help them deeply nourish their Judaism. What more fun way to help your students stir up their Jewish identity, spice up their personal spiritual spark, ripen their personal character, mix into Jewish community, and relish their Jewish practice, and take away a sweet taste that will energize their lives and families forever. I've got a whole seasonal menu of classes, online and in person, and hands-on workshops for students of all ages and families. It's all organized around seasons of the year and Jewish holidays, with a great dessert of Jewish life cycle classes and workshops. You can choose individual classes or build a multi-course selection of classes and workshops, sort of a mini-mester, to suit your own school's appetites. Depending upon the nature of the class, I can teach at your site or even via video conference. And it's seriously affordable. And of course, there are discounts on the books themselves. You see the website to check out, and you can, of course, reach out to me with any questions at all. Please do. But right now, let me share a little Vorspeise, a little hors d'oeuvre of the luscious stuff I'm offering you. Let's sample the winter, the Shabbat, and the life cycle offerings. Winter may be a dark and cold season, but these classes are all about light and warmth and life. Since we've got Hanukkah in winter, one class gives us the chance to explore the meaning of light across all kinds of Jewish tradition. We'll enjoy and analyze my paintings of traditional Jewish poetry relating to light, from my celebrated and long exhibited I Will Wake the Dawn illuminated psalms, and my light-filled and also well exhibited Kabbalat Shabbat, the Grand Unification, that celebrates Shabbat through both the warm emotions of Jewish mysticism and modern science. Here you can see some of the influence of my beloved late first husband, a NASA astrophysicist. It's wonderful to accompany this class with my workshop, Your Spirit in Lights, where I'll work with your students from bar bat mitzvah age on up the line. And keep in mind here that boys and men love this class and get as much into it as girls and women. And I'll work with everyone in designing and creating their own Jewish illuminated manuscript. After a 10-minute slide introduction to the history of decorated Hebrew books, I'll guide the class in working with brush pens and real leaf, inaugurating each of them to the central and ancient Jewish artistic tradition. I wish I could show you the students' faces as they leave the class, proudly holding their creations. Somehow I never get around to taking pictures of that. I've done this workshop for school-age and adult groups all around the US and even at Limud UK to hugely oversubscribed groups every time, and it's always an enthusiastic success. And then we can share the values of archetypal strong Jewish women in midwinter around Parshat B'Shalach, Shabbat Shira, when the Torah reading about the crossing of the Red Sea is accompanied by the reading of the exciting story from Judges about Israel's first woman chieftain and general, Deborah. Now, as great as Gal Gadot's superwoman is, a Deborah is Israel's really traditional woman leader role model. Biblical text, Jewish tradition, history and archaeology, and women's leadership. Tu B'Shvat, Judaism's birthday of the trees, is our special moment to celebrate the natural world and build Jewish environmental ethics. I'll help your students engage in their own spiritual conversation with God through a love of nature and Jewish environmental ethics. We'll take a magic carpet through the natural world, through the paintings from my delicious little book, All the World Praises You, an illuminated alphabet book, led by dahlias and honeybees, leading students to discuss their own ways of appreciating the environment and feeling gratitude to God as they experience our world. I can teach this class either in person or via video conference. But your students will have an even more immediate way of expressing their sense of spirituality and nature when we add on my workshop, Your Spirit and Lights, and give it an environmental focus. Shabbat is the core of our week. Its spirituality, traditions, and family and community warmth so much the center of Jewish life. These classes are built around my illuminated book, Kabbalat Shabbat, The Grand Unification, the fruits of a remarkable, multifaceted collaboration with celebrated scholars Arthur Green, Raymond Shendlin, and even Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs. I offer you a rich buffet of classes about Shabbat, focusing on the notion of the Shabbat bride, the ecstatic sensations evoked in the Kabbalat Shabbat service, ways in which we can fuse our spiritual souls and scientific minds in our Friday night traditions, the role of women in Shabbat symbolism, and of course, the Shabbat dinner as a focus of crucially important family joy, spirituality, and love. We can do short talks during Friday night services, Shabbat lunch talks, or full classes on Sundays or weekdays. There's so much to celebrate and learn and share about Shabbat. Let's take just a minute to look at how we can illuminate the Jewish life cycle through art. The life cycle is not just a string of personal events. Every key moment in life is a focus for Jewish community celebration or loving support, all imbued with our trust in God. I just went through it with the Brit Milah of my first grandson. For instance, has it occurred to you that childbirth is about even more than the birth of a precious baby? Birth is a metaphor for creativity itself, for the human partnership with God in improving the world. We can explore all of this highest joy in slide discussion and art workshop. And then even before birth, we have the Jewish wedding. I've participated in the joy of hundreds of couples by preparing their ketubot, one of the great traditional Jewish art forms that every couple now makes their own. And I teach about the art and history of this gorgeous, loving, and accessible cultural tradition. There's also a workshop for engaged couples in which they can explore their relationship through art together. Our marriages and our children build our families, where we really exercise our most fundamental Jewish values. And so, I offer you a special workshop where families can design their Jewish family crest, articulating their key values. And then eventually, we also all have to deal with the loss of loved ones, as I did 10 years ago when my beloved first husband died after a long battle with a rare cancer. And so you see here a class and workshop using artwork to help students process their spiritual feelings and thoughts around bereavement. As you see, this luscious menu of classes is as varied as our lives and communities, and I'm happy to add classes based on your own ideas. So please do explore the website, drop me a note, and let's plan a tempting menu of classes and workshops to lend color and savor to your synagogue or school's programming, and above all, excite your Jewish students' values, lives, and spirits. It's all delicious.